Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me over the rain. It just started downpouring, but it's not that cold out here. It actually feels really nice, and so I'm enjoying my morning sunshine. Let's see, it's 7:18 right now. Got Cusco here hanging out like usual. I'm going to attempt to bring you on a what I eat in a day video today. We have a bit of a busy day. Today is a swim day for us. We're doing homeschool swim right now a couple of days a week, and so today is one of those days. So we're going to be doing that. I am a helper in one of the lanes at swim, so I get to enjoy that as well. And then tonight I have my exercise class, so we'll go to swim in the afternoon, come home, have a short amount of time, then I'll go to exercise class in the evening, which means I probably should plan out my food this morning and get it prepped to be ready, because I'm going to just be having a real quick turnaround there. So maybe I will attempt to do some food prep this morning. Probably should. So I had a couple of questions on my last What I Eat in a Day video about blood sugar and just some curiosities. So one person was asking or wondering if I have some kind of a spike earlier than 1 hour on the blood sugar. So I was thinking on the meals today that I'm able to get blood sugar finger pricks in, I'm going to try to do a 30-minute. So before I've been doing a 1 hour and at 2 hours. And so I think what I'm going to do now on this video is I'm going to try to do a 30-minute and then a 90-minute just to give a little bit different of a view of it. I may do another CGM at some point to see, the full rise and fall and everything. Those are just expensive. I can't do them all the time as much as I would like to. So we'll just see how things are going at that 30-minute mark after my meal and at the 90-minute mark after the meal. And then I also had someone curious about if my blood sugar goes back up at the 3-hour mark, which I haven't really checked that very much. I kind of don't think that's happening, but if I am able to, I'll try to get a 3-hour post-meal blood sugar check in here just to look at that. Like I've mentioned before, I love sharing my blood sugar after these very high carb meals, because in the low carb space that I had been in for decades, there was I'm putting myself into this category, there's an understanding that carbs just inherently spike blood sugar to an unhealthy range, and that it is impossible to keep your blood sugar in a good range while eating carbohydrates. I heard someone say not too long ago that you just cannot have a healthy glucose variability while eating a high carb diet. Very matter of fact, like no questions, this is just how it is. And I have learned through my own personal experience that for me, that is just not true. And so I had to kind of reshape my thinking, and a lot of my thinking was challenged. A lot of my thinking has changed about blood sugar in particular and the effect of carbohydrates on blood sugar. And so as I am doing my What I Eat in a Day videos, I love to share my own personal blood sugar and show that it is possible to keep your blood sugar in a healthy range. It's possible to eat a ridiculous amount of carbohydrates and not have your blood sugar spike into unhealthy ranges. It's possible. Now, I'm not saying that anyone out there in the state that they are currently in can or should go eat exactly the same thing I'm doing and that they will have exactly the same response that I have. I have found that the state my body is in, based on the diet that I have been eating, what I am adapted to, is as big, if not bigger, of a factor in what my blood sugar response is as the food that I'm eating in that particular meal. So we see lots and lots of videos of people saying, let's see what this does to my blood sugar. And, they eat something and their blood sugar either, has a good response or a bad response. And based on that, they say, okay, this food is either good or bad. that is not, I have found for me, that is not a helpful way to look at individual foods, because when I was keto, if I had eaten, X number of carbohydrates from a specific source, my blood sugar response would have been vastly different than it is now. And that has nothing to do with the food. I could eat exactly the same food, but the state that my body was in with a high fat, low carb diet was completely different, gave me a completely different blood sugar response than the response that I have now on this high carb, lower fat diet. So there's lots of talk out there about carbs are good, carbs are bad, this is good, this is bad. And I firmly believe for myself that I have to take into account the state that my body is in. I cannot just say like carbs are bad, carbs are good. I have to know where my body is at, what it is adapted to, and that is part of the whole picture. So one more quick question that I got that I figured I'd answer real quick about protein and carbs is someone was asking if the reason my blood sugar response was so low after my high carb meals, they were asking if it's because I was eating it with protein. And for me, I have found that I can have a very good low blood sugar response from meals that include protein and meals that don't. Since I have been experimenting over the last 6 months with fruit fasting, I've had a lot of meals that are very, very high carb and very, very low protein. It's not something I necessarily recommend. It's something that I had been experimenting with and that I tend to do less now. But all that to say, I do have experience with doing high carb, low fat, low protein meals. Like I've shown on here before, eating a meal of dates and figs, dried dates and figs. Very, very high carb, very low fat, very low protein. And my blood sugar response is still very, very good. And so I don't when you get your body to a place of your cells being ready to receive glucose, which would be a state of insulin sensitivity. I have found for myself that I can eat carbs with or without protein, with or without fat. I have found that my blood sugar response is, very, very healthy. It doesn't spike or anything like that. One more quick thing I will throw in here, because no matter how many times I talk about it, I will always get the comments on these videos where I talk about blood sugar. People will say, blood sugar doesn't really matter. What matters is insulin. You're eating all these carbohydrates. Your body is producing buckets of insulin in order to take care of it, and that is bad. Okay, so we will respond to that really quickly. I don't believe that my body is producing buckets of insulin, and that is because I don't see my blood sugar staying high for a long period of time. When I eat carbs, my blood sugar goes up very minimally and then comes right back down. And what that shows me is that when my body senses the carbs coming in, it produces the insulin to take care of it. The insulin my cells are very sensitive to that message of insulin, which means the glucose goes to my cells for energy very quickly, and there's no need for more insulin. The thing that causes the high insulin amount is when you eat the carbohydrates, your body produces the insulin to take care of them. Your cells aren't ready. They don't hear the message of insulin. The blood sugar is still in your bloodstream for a longer amount of time. Your body responds by producing more insulin and so on and so forth until things get taken care of. Because of how quickly my blood sugar goes back down, it shows me that the insulin that is being produced to take care of the carbohydrates is doing its job, and there is no need for buckets of insulin to come and continue the job that's not getting done. Also, my fasting insulin is still low. Last time I got it checked, it was 6. So it's still in a really good range. I don't have any sort of signs of insulin resistance, hyperinsulinemia. I don't have any of that. I personally don't believe that high insulin and hyperinsulinemia go along with eating carbohydrates. They are a metabolic issue that arises from other things besides the consumption of carbohydrates. That is my own personal understanding based on the research that I have done. I think we can definitely all agree that high insulin is bad. I think the disagreement may come when we decide the best way to lower insulin or keep insulin in a healthy range. I believe that it can be done through eating a high carb, low fat diet. Other people don't believe that that is possible. I do quickly want to say thank you to Element for sponsoring the video today. Element is my favorite electrolyte supplement. I love all of the flavors. The fruity flavors are great, refreshing for any time of the year. I use them all year round. They also have some chocolatey flavors that are great for when the rain is pouring down and you just want something cozy up next to the fire. They have their chocolate salt and their chocolate caramel salt that are excellent. You can put them in tea, you can put them in hot chocolate, but you can also just put them in hot water and just sip it like that. They're delicious and extremely cozy. So if you want to try out Element and see if it might be right for you, you can get a free sample pack just by using my link, drinkelement.com/indigo, drinklmnt.com/indigo. Click the link, place an order for anything on the website, maybe a box of chocolate salt or chocolate caramel salt, and you will automatically get a free sample pack of 4 of their most popular fruit flavors, 2 sticks of each kind. You will get that for free just by using that link to place your order. Thanks again to Element for sponsoring the video today. I've already eaten my morning snack that I try to have shortly after I wake up, and that was today a banana and my coffee with 5 ounces of whole milk steamed, so it's kind of like a latte. And it is 8:45 right now, and I'm going to go ahead and have my breakfast, my first big meal of the day. I'll show you what it is. Kind of a weird meal. I was going to do like a hash with ground beef, but it kind of turned into potatoes with like a ground beef gravy. Not exactly breakfast, but whatever, it works. So I have some onions and some lean ground beef that I drained, and I added some broth to that in the pan, and then thickened it up with a teaspoon of arrowroot starch. So it kind of made like this gravy to put over these little potatoes. They're like the little, I think they're just called Little Potatoes. That's the brand. So I have like 8 ounces of potatoes in there with the ground beef and onions. And then I also have 8 ounces of 2% Fage Greek yogurt with a few ounces of my homemade spiced pear preserves. We picked pears this summer and I made the most delicious spiced pear preserves. And I think I have just 1, maybe 2 jars left. And I'm so sad because it's been my absolute favorite thing, especially on Greek yogurt. It has been 30 minutes since my meal, and I'm getting my red light therapy in. But we're going to go ahead and get a blood sugar after 30 minutes. 102. It has been 90 minutes now since my breakfast. 99. And now we are 3 hours post-meal. 86. It's about 12:30 and I'm going to have lunch. I know it looks a little weird. This is some pork with sweet and sour sauce on it. And this is a package of cauliflower gnocchi from Trader Joe's. I air fried it up with just a little bit of seasoning. And then I have an apple for dessert. I remember there was one What I Eat in a Day video where I had cauliflower gnocchi early on in my carb eating days, and my blood sugar spiked a little bit higher than I had anticipated from it. And I haven't had it recently, so it'll be interesting to see how my blood sugar does with that. I don't know if I'm going to get all of the blood sugar pricks after this meal because we'll be at swim, but I'll at least try to get the 30-minute and hopefully the 3-hour one. We shall see. We are just about to walk out the door, but this is my 30 minutes post-meal. 92. Just walked in the door after swim, and this is a little over 3 hours from my meal. 81. For my after swim and pre-workout snack, I'm going to have one of these Prime bars from Equip. These are very high quality ingredients and one of the better tasting protein bars. they're pretty good. And then I'm going to have a banana with it. I may need a little more than this before I go work out in about an hour and a half, but I'm just going to eat this and see how I feel. Yeah, I don't want to like have a big old meal right before workout class because it's a pretty intense workout and it doesn't feel great to eat a whole bunch right before. So I want to have enough so I'm not hungry, but not too much. So here's my 30-minute blood prick. I'm not going to be able to get the hour and a half because I'm just about to head to exercise class. All right, this is 30 minutes after the banana and the Equip Prime Protein Bar, 74. But I should be able to do the 3-hour one when I get back from class. I just finished my exercise class. It was a tough one as usual, a lot of weightlifting. Now I'm headed home and I will probably have a snack before bed. It'll probably be some fruit. I'll try to show you that shortly. Here is 3 hours after my meal, also after exercise class. All right, this is 30 minutes after my 3 ounces of dates. I'm probably not going to get the 90-minute or the 3-hour on this one. Definitely not the 3-hour because I'll probably be going to bed early tonight. So this will probably be the last blood sugar for the evening.